Let's talk Tanya for the 5th of Tamuz. Today's Tanya, we begin the last chapter of Shar Yichud V'Amunah, chapter 12. And today we're going to wrap up with a discussion about the Asara Mamores, the 10 utterances, which, as we've learned several times over the course of this section of Tanya, they contain the energy which creates all the worlds and gives life and sustenance to everything. As we spoke in the last chapter, so the Asara Mamores, these 10 utterances are made up of the 22 letters of the Aleph base. Every one of the letters of the Aleph base contains a very unique type of energy. So it's not just 22 letters, but each one is a different type of energy. And as the Alter Rebbe actually says, the form and the shape of the letter is actually a representation somehow or other of the specific type of energy that that letter represents. Now we take out letters from these 10 utterances and we create different creations. All the creations are by means of permutations of the letters of the 10 utterances. And whenever we have a word, so a word is a combination of letters, which means a combination of energies. So for example, let's take the word rakia, which means heavens, and I'm using that example because the Alter Rebbe talks about this in this chapter. So the word rakia is made up of 4 letters, the resh, a kuf, a yud, and a ayin, which means that the heavens are made up of these 4 energies. However, it's not just the combination of these 4 energies. Proof being that we can have another word which is made up of the exact same letters. Let's take the word ikar, which means a source or a root or the primary idea of something, which is the exact same 4 letters, but because the letters are configured differently, it has a different energy. How is that possible? Because when you put things together, the overarching combination gives you something new. By way of example, if I'm going to say, I am happy, not sad. So that's what? 5 words. I am happy, not sad. So the word I has a meaning, and am has a meaning, happy has a meaning, not, and sad. And the meanings of these 5 words come together to make up the sentence and the larger idea. But if I'm going to tell you, I am sad, not happy, so I have the exact same 5 words and the same definitions of each word, but at the same time, because I configured them differently, it's an entirely different meaning that comes out of it. The same thing is also when we take the letters, and it is the order of the letters that give you different sorts of creations. And within this itself, we have, the Alter Rebbe says, the first letter of every word is the dominant energy, which, by the way, is the reason for a concept called Rashi Tevis. Rashi Tevis means that when we give an acronym for something, in Hebrew, it's actually meaningful. Why? Because the first letter of every single word actually contains the energy of the entire word. And then we add a second letter to the word, which means we're adding a secondary energy. And if the word is longer than that, every single letter is adding another energy, but the energy is not as powerful as the letter that precedes it. Think of it like when you buy a food and you look at the ingredients list. So you have 10 ingredients on a food, but each ingredient, the order is important because the primary ingredient is the first one, etc. You can have the exact same ingredients, but if you turn around the order, you are going to have a different product. So going back to Rakia, the heavens. So we have one of the 10 utterances, Yehi Rakia, let there be heavens. The source of the energy of the heavens is in those words, Yehi Rakia. However, if we look in the sources in the Talmud, we talk about the 7 heavens and the many different creations and inhabitants of these heavens. What is the source of all these different creations? And that is because from this utterance of Yehi Rakia, let there be heavens, we pull out letters, and we then, those letters, as we explained, are transfigured and they become other letters, and we have the gematria, and we have different letters that are exchanged for other letters using the systems that we've discussed earlier on in Shar Yichud V'Amunah, and ultimately from there we have all the creations within the heavens. So the general heavens is from Yehi Rakia, and all the detailed inhabitants of these heavens come from different permutations of the words of that utterance, Yehi Rakia. We will continue this conversation and conclude this idea, as well as the entire Shar Yichud V'Amunah, in tomorrow's Tanya.